Hello, my name is Hope Thompson. This is my Bridging the Gap presentation for Thompson Educational Innovators. The purpose of this presentation is to inform you about the different classifications of technology adopters and how to lead your organization filled with different adopters in a Christ-centered way. Rogers defined the adopter categories as the classification of members of a social system on the basis of innovativeness. This classification includes innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggards. The first step in understanding how to bridge the gap is understanding the different types of adopters within the educational system. To begin with, there are innovators. They represent 2.5% of the population. They're eager to adopt new technology and are accepting of the uncertainties that come along with the new technology. They're daring and risk takers, which means they're the ones actively seeking out new innovations, reading, researching, signing up to be the first one to try the new technology before there's even a product on the market. While they're often not respected by their peers, Sahin suggests they are the gatekeepers bringing the innovation in from the outside system. The second classification is early adopters. They represent 13.5% of the population and are considered the integrative part of the social system. They are respected by peers and considered role models, which means they're likely to be leaders who give advice or information on innovations. They play a part in everything from the initiation to the implementation, particularly in the deploying the resources that carry the innovation forward. Rogers suggests they put their stamp of approval on new technology by adopting it. Roberts, on the other hand, says that they become evangelists of the innovation, meaning they will tell every single friend and family member about your product or service, whether in person, on social channels, via review forums, and every other way possible. The third classification is early majority. They represent 34% of the population, or 1/3. They adopt the innovation just before other members, which makes them an important link to the launch of a successful process. They're deliberately thinking through the idea before adopting it. So they're not the first to accept it, but they're definitely not the last. While they're willing to adopt the innovation, they rarely lead the venture. The next classification is late majority. They represent 34% of the population. They adopt innovation merely out of necessity and peer pressure from other members. They're always skeptical and cautious about the innovation and its outcomes. They want the uncertainty of the new technology to be removed before they even think about adopting it. Lastly, we have laggards. They represent 16% of the population. Within these 5 groups, they're the most localized group with traditional views. They're usually the last to adopt the innovation and may choose to oppose or never accept the innovation. They're not keen on leadership roles, but they've been around the block a while, so you've seen them in the class or in the school system for a long time. They're suspicious of innovations and change agents. They don't understand why they must incorporate new technology if what they're currently doing is working. And when they decide to make an innovation decision, it's a rather lengthy process. Utilizing these 3 groups can help bridge the gap between those who use the technology and those who oppose it. Ultimately, it requires the combined efforts of the innovators, early adopters, and early majority to reach the laggards who may never accept technological innovations in the classroom. Sahin states interpersonal channels are more powerful to create or change attitudes held by an individual. Because these three groups must work together, the communication between them is crucial in the diffusion of technology. The innovators would seek out new forms of technology that is research-based. They'll test it and introduce it. The early adopters would guide the process by suggesting where the strengths and weaknesses are and how to make adjustments. The early majority, once the kinks have been worked out, they will use their interpersonal skills to present the new technology to the faculty. And from a biblical perspective, just as Christ used a variety of followers to teach his word to others, innovators, early adopters, and early majority can be used to teach others within the system. To work with the late majority and the laggards group, there needs to be an inclusive approach rather than a labeling approach. We don't need to point out that they don't accept new innovations, but show them that we're willing to work with them and make the effort to answer their questions and concerns, and assure them there is nothing to fret. They also should be provided professional development opportunities and offer chances to observe innovator, early adopter, and early majority classrooms using the new technology. 1 Corinthians 13:1 says, "If I speak in the tongues of men or angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal." This verse reminds us to speak in love, even to those with a different mindset. Likewise, Philippians 4:6-7 says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." This verse reminds us not to be anxious about anything. Although there are different classifications of adopters of innovating technology, it is important that everyone is pointing in the same direction. Just like we all should have our eyes on Christ, we all should have our eyes on the prize in the educational setting. Core values should be Christ-based. Regardless of how our personal opinions reflect the use of technology, everyone's beliefs and ideas should be valued. Implementation of new technology is important for many reasons, but most importantly, it should be for the reason of offering a more optimal learning experience for our students. Romans 12:16 says, "Live in harmony with one another. Do not be proud, but willing to associate with people of low position. Do not be conceited." Just like the verse states, we are to work harmoniously with everyone, even those who are not like-minded. We shouldn't be haughty about the new technology, but encouraging and supportive with each other. The following pages are references given throughout the presentation.